The ancients spoke of a hidden pillar, an invisible thread that binds heaven and earth. They called it the Axis Mundi, the world axis, the center point of all existence. It was not merely a mountain, a tree, or a temple, but a symbol of the unshakable connection between the human world and realms beyond perception. At its root lies the underworld, at its summit, the eternal stars, and in the middle, our fragile reality. From the depths of Hindu cosmology comes the ethereal summit of the cosmic mountain, Mount Meru, the unseen pillar of the worlds. Mount Meru does not merely rise from the earth, but pierces the fabric of heaven itself, a glowing spine that binds the lower, middle, and upper realms. Its summit is said to shimmer with a light not of the sun nor of any star, but of eternity itself, a beacon for gods and demons alike. Around it, the constellations circle like moths, bound in a ceaseless dance of attraction to its unyielding gravity. Yet Meru is more than a mountain. Though not physically real, it is considered more than real. And to ascend it is to risk dissolution, for its middle spaces are said to warp perception and shatter the human form. Along its metaphysical slopes lies an esoteric path, leading not only upward, but also inward, toward a realm where heaven and abyss entwine. But even real mountains were said to facilitate this interdimensional connection. Long ago, a man scaled a mountain called Sinai to receive stone tablets written by God himself, as if heaven had extended its finger into our realm with a message. He scaled this mountain multiple times to commune with the divine, but one of these encounters perfectly encapsulates multiple forms of this archetype. The story goes that Moses, who was wandering in the wilderness, came upon a strange sight, a bush that burned with unearthly fire, yet was not consumed. This occurred at the base of Mount Sinai, and it was no mere plant, but a living paradox, an eternal flame contained in fragile branches, a sign that the divine could dwell within the temporal without being destroyed. The bush became a threshold, a window between realms. In this vision, Moses was not standing before a tree, but before the very trembling heart of creation. As the mountain rose around him like a cosmic spine, the bush glowed at its heart, the secret core of the fire hidden within the stone. The branches of the bush, like veins of light, mirrored branching rivers of Eden and the tree of life, making this small desert plant the secret world tree in miniature. In that moment, Moses was drawn into the stillness of the center. The ground itself turned sacred, transfigured by the proximity to the eternal root of all things. The command to remove his sandals was no arbitrary ritual, but an acknowledgement that he had crossed into the holy access, the fiery heart of the mountain, a lowly tree at its base that spoke to Moses, summoning him to become a mediator between heaven and earth. This story contains not one, but two prime examples of the Axis Mundi, the holy mountain and the world tree. Across cultures, this center takes many forms. The Norse had the concept of Yggdrasil, an enormous cosmic ash tree that connected the 9 worlds of the outer cosmos, with its roots also reaching deep into the underworld. The ancestors in Central America had the Mayan world tree, which was a ceiba tree connecting heaven and earth. The same motif is echoed here, along with Hindu and Chinese mythologies. Each is a different mask for the same secret. The universe is threaded together by hidden lines, and those who find their center glimpse eternity. These symbols are not merely myths, but maps pointing towards something beyond three-dimensional existence. Modern minds might ask, what lies at these intersections? Are they gateways? A meeting of coordinates where higher dimensions bleed into ours? Physicists speak of extra dimensions curled tightly beyond perception, and mystics have long claimed that the sacred points, mountains, shrines, and sacred groves are portals where the axis mundi emerges. Perhaps these are not metaphors, but veiled descriptions of the same cosmic truth. The legend of the Tower of Babel has always intrigued me, a mighty tower built by united mankind to enter heaven. I can't help but think that there may have been a technological aspect to this ancient structure, maybe even a particle accelerator like CERN has today, and their attempts to break into other dimensions and communicate with them. Could Babel have been something more than just a tower reaching to heaven, but an ultimate willful and, in some aspects, the most literal attempt to stage a siege on heaven itself? The intention of the builders remains the same in any of these iterations of the story. Through sheer will, the will to power, we may have created an artificial access mundi. Was this a legitimate threat to heaven? What was the transgression in constructing a gateway like this? In a universe as vast as our own, does anything occurring on our tiny blue dot even matter? This is where the nature of sin and the nature of forbidden acts can be seen as more real. It's possible to be reconciled with science. Physics talks of a process called quantum entanglement. Two subatomic particles that have become entangled have been shown to stay connected and mirror one another in motion and behavior, regardless of distance. Imagine for a moment a hypothetical universe where our subatomic particles are connected to ones out in the far reaches of the universe. And as we go about making the choices that we make and create the motion of our daily lives, as mundane as they may seem, they're actually influencing the outer rim of existence, this sprawled out expanse of nebulas and gateways in space-time are undulating at the mercy of humankind. In a universe such as this, everything we do, every decision that we make would matter. And if we were to take a look at this massive map of untraversable reality, there would be a center, a dense and circular or spherical world within the mandala-like megastructure. In this dense world of matter, physical processes are carried out, and they radiate an ornate echo into outer space-time. Could this be the true nature and function of our universe? Is this what the Tibetans were depicting in their Kalachakra mandala? Also known as the Wheel of Time, this mandala is believed to be a representation of the entire cosmos, but also of the self as an intricate fractal of the unfolding totality. The outer parts correspond to the external cosmos, but the more inner parts are the energy and mechanisms through which that energy flows from outer to inner, the connection of the macrocosm to the condensing formations below. They radiate around the central point where the Tibetans hold that the highest deities take their place. In much the same way, our consciousness holds our most central objects of veneration, whether we're aware of it or not. There may exist a darker side to this. If these centers truly connect realms, what else might travel through them? Myths tell of gods descending on shafts of light, but also of spirits and beings that slipped through when the boundaries weakened. Humans have willed into existence artificial bridges between worlds, holy places, towers, spires, maypoles, even pagodas, temples, and churches attempt to mark a sacred place, inviting an otherworldly descent into our midst. However, these structures may not only be a bridge upward, but a channel downward, where the unknown leans close to touch our fragile plane. The mystery deepens when we realize how universal this idea is. From shamanic vision quests to the sacred architecture of pyramids, ziggurats, and cathedrals, humanity has always tried to mark the center, to recreate the axis mundi in stone and symbol. Perhaps because some part of us remembers, because the center calls to us, as if it were an ancient memory encoded in our being. And so we're left with a question that refuses to fade. Is the axis mundi only a myth, or a hidden truth, a vertical bridge connecting us to higher dimensions, waiting quietly at the heart of sacred places, at the center of the mandala, or even within ourselves? Maybe the answer is not in choosing one or the other, but in standing still long enough at the center point and listening.